All right, you guys. So my assignment was basically, or my personal project was basically, um, I wanted to promote service users voice in my placement of therapists, and I realized that I would probably be viewed as a jerk, or and it was very like it was uh, it was very it was an idea that was just focused in my own head, and it was something that was bothering me personally, um, and I didn't have the power to really advocate for service users' voices, uh, you know, because I was just an intern. That kind of like idea and that failure of that idea led to this project, um, which is um, analysis of all my employment and um, placements in kind of social services, and understand and kind of analyzing uh, their their um, use of service, their kind of their how much are they involving service users' voices in decision. So the three things I decided to measure or analyze are how are dis- how much are service users involved in decision making for services? Um, what is the feedback systems uh, for service users? And what are like alternative supports and kind of options that are provided to service users to try to produce the best result possible? So, um, the first program um, analyzed is this one. Uh, so, their decision making process, case managers develop a client plan within the first or two, one or second, first or second uh, session, and uh, it's a very intense program. 10 hours a week for 3 to 4 months. It titrates, um, but there is kind of an expert oriented bias that's going on. You know, I The collaborative process between parents, coaches it's definitely not emphasized. The service is very focused on behavior change. They're trying to use some collaborative problem solving, but that's it would cause, I think, a really big difference because you're really trying to understand participants when with CPS, but it's not something it's still in like the rollout phase. So, and then feedback is they have some surveys, and then there's but that's actually not given to any of the coaches. In terms of like improving actual services, that doesn't occur. And then parent panels occur twice a year, and then again, none of this. So like coaches are basically doing whatever they want. It's kind of weird. Uh, well, and then, I mean, of course, they talk to case managers. And then finally, they do have some family partners, but there's only two. Um, and out of 100 coaches, you can imagine how much that gets utilized. So the next program is this one. Uh, like I said, this is the one where there's all therapists. Because it's very relatively short program. Um, they are very solutions focused. Uh, they do have family support partners who are allowed to work at schools, homes, with the child alone, with the parent alone, providing resources. So, and then they kind of have this idea of like holding hands, uh, of really like, I guess it's a culturally specific practice. So, it's the whole independent Western like value is thrown out the window, and they kind of embrace the whole like just walk you through it, you know, um, do whatever it takes to make it happen, at least resources wise. So there's that. Feedback. I've also experienced moments where they try to justify why the participants aren't um, being engaged. I've had cases like that. In fact, um, there's not that much questioning. There's more of a like, hey, why aren't you picking up phone calls? Hey, if you don't engage, we're gonna close. Uh, and it's a little bit focused on like mental disease uh, because of the kind of therapist focus. Um, did I miss anything? I think that's the gist of it. The next one I got is the kinship support program. Kinship families are relatives of children whose parents gave up, they're not taking care of them. So this program, they gave $500 per kid. They, they'll because the aunts, uncles, grandparents, there's laws that require like beds or fences around pools, swimming pools. So they kind of provide they set the stage or the home for like basic needs, but other than that, like in terms of so I had a case where I was trying to get the use of funds to buy a car for the family. They had like I think it was six kinship children living there, so you could buy a car, uh, but we provided them. But the we had so I worked with them over 2 years, like 2 fiscal years, and they were qualified for a second round of services, and uh, like there was some conversation about, hey, a car would really help, and then it was shut down because they were stable. It was it was something that they'd never done and they didn't want to think about. But the main thing is that the program was kind of maxed out. Like program manager was going crazy. Like everyone had like I had one of the case managers had like a load of like I think it was like 50 or 60, and I mean that's really high, but like there's some like really high need clients, so um, you can imagine how much support they were receiving. So, but they do also have a lot of options. They expanded services to have these two supplemental programs. One was collaborative decision making, where it was very service user based. Like they got everybody into the same room. They encouraged the children's families to come up with a decision to overcome obstacles like um, transportation or some kind of maybe some money disputes. So I actually left right. They were just setting it up, so I don't know how well the program is or how much it's been utilized. But it certainly sounds uh, that it has a service user focus. And then they also have a family findings program where they're trying to find all of the children's connections in the community to kind of build that family tree for these children with you know that their parents abandoned them and whatnot. So usually it was CPS actually, if one thing involved it. Anyway, so the last one is this program. The neighborhood is known as the highest crime rate in this neighborhood with the highest crime rate in a lot of gang stuff. Um, so the low funding, I think, is also, and then so they're involved with community violence, aka homicides, um, and they try to support families, the victims of community violence, and at times, a lot of times, it's gang related. So they're trying to kind of prevent this cycle of violence. It's very intense work, but they also do a lot of other stuff. I'm involved with like the after school program. Um, so like that program is almost completely relationship based. The mobile response ladies, like they're working 7 days a week. I get emails from all the members at like 10 o'clock at night. Um, there's a lot of like compassion fatigue and vicarious trauma. Um, so it's rough. They do a lot. I'm making myself sad, but they do a lot of good stuff, and they have a lot of impact. So basically, so leading to like the analysis of these programs is I kind of now analyze the spaces where promoting community service users' voice. Where are the opportunities? So with PBS, um, I didn't have the power. So CPS, I think, was a huge step towards service user voice, just like with the framework of listening to, trying to find what the problem is. So like that's all service users. Um, but they were just starting it. I tried to promote. I did things like try and promote self-care, promote greater collaboration between staff and case managers or staff and other staff, and there was a lot of kind of cosmetic stuff, but like systematic change in the program was like always had pushback, um, and I think it was just the kind of the hierarchy of it, and they're really known for cost cutting. So that program, I don't know. I think in terms of service users' voice, they were more susceptible to outside forces like trends within the industry. So it was tough. This program, I they so I think developing relationships with the therapists, I think would like working on specific cases, advocating for service users, um, and also just role modeling what works, role modeling like work like engaging service users, really building that strong relationship. I think that would be something that would kind of move the needle a little bit. Um, ACE. So I think ACE and kinship. So with kinship, I try to do like more qualitative and more in-depth surveys, but they just didn't have my PM just didn't have energy for it. So looking back, I needed to kind of help them streamline things a little bit, help support the program manager, um, advocate for all the stuff that they're doing, and tell the county, hey, we're doing a lot, we can do more. Um, and I think so I think that was a space where they could have increased the capacity. They didn't even have the capacity to increase service user voices. Um, but the county was open to it because they opened all these supplemental programs. So I think that's something that with ACE, um, I, I am doing right now is I'm supporting the organization in creating more efficiency within the organization to create more space. And I'm also thinking, and the PM has talked about like trying to get better feedback to the county. So, so my project is kind of just like trying to understand the spaces to focus my energy for consumer voice and really understanding where those spaces are. Identifying, analyzing, and then navigating those spaces. Okay, thank you.